Good Thursday morning, April 4th, 2024, approximately 8:24 a.m. Well, I get that one, huh? Yeah, basically this is what we got going on. Of course, we have that nice gray sky, a bird just flew by. And I have some thoughts for today, and I would like to share some of those thoughts with you. First and foremost, I just want to say I honestly appreciate all those viewers out there that actually interact with this channel, that post comments, and within those comments they post their thoughts and opinions, viewpoints. That's what this platform is supposed to be all about. Social media. It's supposed to socialize. Well, not a whole lot of that happens on this channel, and well, it's not all that bigly to me. But I do appreciate that interaction that takes place, nevertheless. I also want to thank those viewers, whether past or present, that likes to include additional information geared towards the topic at hand per video or per day, whatever the case may be. But when it comes down to trying to get me to visit channels, and I'm not going to name any, but I'd like to use one as an example. When a content creator has spent the majority of his or her lifetime within a box engrossed within books, and for that majority of lifetime does not experience reality outside of said box, and their knowledge for the most part completely stems from book learning, I cannot accept anything that they have to offer. That's not reality to me, people. That's just regurgitation of other people's realities. This is my reality. I show my reality almost on a daily basis. I speak of my realities, but that's because I am part of what is known as the real world. And I do not thrive on other people's observations through regurgitation of yet other people's works, because that does not work for me. In a nutshell. But I do appreciate those links to channels or videos that you do provide. I do. Once in a while, check out that information, especially if it's something that piques my interest and intrigues me to where I have to investigate in order to understand more. And with that being said, I want you to stay tuned for the next segment, which is going to be attached to this clip here. Anyways, and we are going to delve into my brain pan and explore a few more thoughts. And yes, those thoughts might be religious in nature, and we might just have us a weekday sermon of sorts. But overall, it's just my thoughts. Stay tuned, won't you please? Welcome back. The current time is 10:15 a.m. Once again on this Thursday morning, April 4th, 2024. And before we get to Thursday's sermon, if you will, how would you like a couple of Thursday thrills? Well, continue watching, and I'll do my best to provide. Once again, before we get to the sermon, I would like to take you on a short journey to one of the alternate dimensions of reality on the flip side. Just a short little journey. But before we do that, how would you like to see the greatest magical trick ever? You would? Well, once again, I'll do my best to provide. So I'll just go ahead and say some magic words, and you will see the greatest trick ever. Are you ready? Abby's bra is a big bra. Magical presto! Yeah, how about that? Wasn't that just the greatest of all magic tricks? Alright, so what I would like to show you, we are looking into a mirror right now. And I'm going to zoom in ever so slightly here. And what I have, and you might have seen this before, I don't know, but I have an ordinary piece of white typing paper. I also have a common item that everyone should recognize, that being a still rather green banana. Now, I am going to place this piece of paper onto the mirror with the banana onto the piece of paper. Okay, now this will take a little bit of trial and error here. Now, we have the banana, and I might have to zoom back just a little bit, or pan back, excuse me. Let's try to get this to work out rather well. Hang with me, we'll get there. Okay, so we have the banana onto the piece of paper, and what you can see that, and we are going to now look into the mirror, and lo and behold, you can see the banana. Now, how is it that the mirror can see through this piece of paper in order to see that banana? Yeah, now how is that for a little trip onto the flip side? Now, without further ado, why don't we go ahead and get into this sermon, shall we? Alright, once again, we are using the Holy Bible as reference material, and I'm going to give you a fair warning that this content might rub some viewers the wrong way. But remember, this is only my opinions, and all of the following is opinionated content. So remember that, okay? And after all, I'm just sharing my thoughts and having a little bit of fun by having expansive thoughts in the process. Now, I have scripted this out somewhat in order to hopefully spare you from too much time spent on this subject. So I'm going to try to make it as quick and painless as possible. And what I'm going to be speaking of has to do with quite a few things. And basically, remember, this is just my opinion, but I am in the belief that all religions are in fact cults. Okay? And congregations are cult members. Now, you might associate cults with occultism, in which there is a degree of occultism within all religions. And I'm going to somewhat explain what I'm speaking of. Now, I am going to speak mostly upon Christianity because that is what I am most familiar with. Now, if you go to church, you should be aware that basically, other than the sermons themselves, that the whole church service is very repetitious, Sunday by Sunday or whatever day that you go. Start off the sermon, or before the sermon, you have a little bit of singing of hymns, and you'll pass the offering plate and yada yada yada. And it's the same thing week after week. Am I not correct? These are ritualistic ceremonies, if you will. Communion is a ritualistic ceremony. Baptism is a ritualistic ceremony. And when these things are repetitive in nature, just remember that repetition is a way of learning or otherwise programming. The more the repetition, the more the programming. Okay? Just think how many context tags that I have gotten under my sky observation videos. Every time that you click onto one of my videos and you see one of those tags, that is programming in process. So let's continue on. Okay, so there are some so-called Christians out there. They believe firmly in God, but they don't believe in the devil or Satan or Lucifer. No, they don't want to. They want to be optimistic, because to them, this book here is all optimistic. They don't want to deal with the pessimism within. So they don't want to go to hell. So therefore, they don't want to be punished. So, hey, if we don't think about Satan, well, he doesn't exist. But if you do believe that Satan, Lucifer, the devil does exist, then you are actually kind of partaking in a type of occultism. I won't say that you are practicing Satanism, but if you believe in Satan, that he exists, are you not then partaking in occultism? Yeah. Because, although you are not practicing, it is the belief in or of something that gives it its power. Okay? Belief is power. Therefore, if a church official or otherwise gives a sermon of the evils of the devil, then they are instilling the belief system of Satan within you. Are they not? Just like if they are preaching of God and Jesus, they are instilling that belief system of that within you. So if you believe in the Bible stories, then you must believe that Moses was a god. All right, so once again, let's go to that first book, Genesis. And strange that I flip right to Genesis 27. But anyways, we go to the beginning here, okay, of Genesis. We'll get back to that. And within these stories of creation and then so on and so forth, and leads up into Moses, which we have already spoken of all this. And yes, I always go back to this first book, or so-called first book. Chronologically, we know that is not true. Reality states that in chronological order, the book of Job was first. So, you people out there that want to say, okay, truth is in the beginning, the reality is the book of Job was the beginning. All right, so if you believe in the Bible stories, then you must believe that Moses himself was a god, because God stated that Moses, was a god, and that his son was a prophet to Moses, or Moses the god. Okay, and Moses spoke of the ancient gods. Once again, the book of Genesis and other books are based on the oldest stories in the world, which did not originate in Israel. All right? They did not originate with the Hebraic writings. So, God made Moses a god. Christians also believe that Jesus is God and the Son of God collectively. Satan is a god among the demons and his realm, correct? And by many humans today, they consider Satan to be a god. Yes? Now remember, within the original Hebraic writings, or the Hebraic texts, they used the word Elohim, which is plural for the word gods. Or God, it is the plural form. And which, when you use that plural form, and when it talks about the creation, or the formation of Adam, because it was the creation of man and then the creation or formation of Adam, and when it states that he was created in the image of us, okay, that does not make sense when you apply a singular God to that equation. And no, we are not talking of the Trinity, because why? Jesus wasn't mentioned in any of this. So move on from that Trinity debuttal. Okay? That does not work in this portion of the Bible. Now then, when you apply gods to the stories, it makes much more sense, as I stated. And you have to remember, once again, the division of this chapter here, where it states God, let's just say creator, okay? Because he created, or it created. But once we get further into this book of Genesis, come on, focus, then it speaks of the Lord God, and so on and so forth. And I've already covered this before, but I don't mind repeating myself over this. I'm not trying to program anybody. I'm just trying to add more clarification. These are different gods here. Now I want you to understand that when you get into that formation story, remember what book it comes from. Okay? It is Genes. Okay? That's a story about Eve being so-called created by the rib of Adam. No. Genes is. Get it? Alright, so you have to understand that you yourself now are a believer in gods. If you believe that Moses was real and God made him a god, now you are believing in two gods. If you believe in Jesus as God, now you are believing in three gods. If you believe that the devil is a god of his realm, now you are believing in yet another god. Yes, people. You might think that your belief system is only based on one God. No. Your belief is in multiple gods. And that is how it's stated in the oldest stories in the world. Gods. So, what if you don't believe in any God? What if you believe in nothing? Alright, I've got a really good answer for that. And I'm going to paraphrase a certain comedian without making his name mentioned. But his words ring a certain reality within my ears. So, let me quote him in a paraphrased form. Do you think God created the universe? Some people think nothing created the universe, which is the funniest guess. And the nothing people make fun of, and the nothing people make fun of the God people. And they say God doesn't exist. I'm like, okay, maybe. But you know what definitely doesn't exist? Nothing. That's the defining characteristic of nothing, is that it doesn't exist. So what are we talking about? Either you think it's God, something you can't see, touch, taste, photograph, and science can't prove, or you think it's nothing, something that you can't see, touch, taste, photograph, and science can't prove. But I think we can all agree that nothing sometimes spontaneously erupts into everything. That's a damn magical nothing, you guys. Ask nothing people what happens when you die. They will tell you nothing. You go into nothing. And I'm like, so what? You merge back into your creator? All right, people. So, bottom line, if you find the topic of God or gods difficult, then understand that you yourself are God. After all, you wouldn't still be here today if you didn't believe in yourself first.